So here's what I decide after isolating myself when I was disappointed, because I did that a lot, not only in business but like relationship wise. When I get disappointed, I usually isolate myself, and through isolating myself and realizing that I was still not receiving the best outcome, I started handling disappointment differently. And I am going to give you a few steps of what I did or what I am doing that which is really helping me, and I hope it will help you too. So there's a little quote that I love that I am going to share with you. So rejection is protection and redirection. Honestly, there's some stuff that I had prayed about, some stuff that I believed that I wanted, and looking back not getting them was actually a blessing. So hello everyone, I am your host for the Woman Up podcast, Tamara Blackstock. Welcome to another episode. So today I am going to be talking a little bit about handling disappointment, and that was a suggestion from a viewer earlier back. But at the time when I got that suggestion, I honestly didn't feel like I was handling my disappointment so well. But after self-reflecting, I realized that I'm doing a good job. So I know you might be at a point where a relationship that you thought would work out didn't work out. You went for a job interview and this person did not call back. You're trying to get a house to rent, very relatable. You went and you look and you are honestly believing that you are going to be getting a call back from those persons, and they end up selecting someone else, and that is so disappointing in truth. And how do you handle that? So I am going to be a little truth, and I'm going to share a little story, and I am going to tell you how I honestly dealt with that situation. So I was at a location, my business was at a location, and I really liked the location, although there were rooms for improvement, right? And I end up, through nobody's fault but mine at the time, losing the location, and I was so disappointed. I had so many plans, like the space could hold my nutrition club, it could hold my school, I could do a lot more there. I had a garden in the back and all of that, and I had big plans, but God has other plans. So I was trying to find a location, and I was so disappointed, and I looked at a couple of spots, but nothing was to my liking, and I just decided that since nothing is going my way, I am going to lock myself into my room, and I am going to play dead until I figure out what I was doing. And I did exactly that. I have a way that when things are not going my way, I separate myself from persons, and I come into my room and I try figuring out what my next step was. But sometimes this can be so bad, because sometimes there's stuff that you really have to go there and do your best to deal with, and I was not doing that, because being locked away, isolating myself is not actually dealing with the problem. So I can tell you straight up what that was like for me, because I was there and nothing was being dealt with, no other location was being looked for. And then when I finally found a location, it was even better than the one that I was in before. So sometimes God is trying to redirect our path, and we are a bit stubborn, and we want to hold on to the things that don't serve us no more. And the only thing that I can say is that sometimes by ourselves, on our own, we will not know what to do, and we just need direction so that we can go forward. So the first thing is you have to feel what you're going through first. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we tend to try to be strong and try to not feel anything when we are disappointed, especially when it has to do with relationships. So we lack that side of that part of us, and I for one used to say I am so strong and my heart is made of stone, and at one point I called myself ice cold, and that's when I was dealing with disappointment from my broken marriage. I told myself I will not love anyone again. My heart is stone cold. I called myself ice cream, and through doing that I felt like I was handling this disappointment well, but it does not help. When you try not to show emotions, you are bottling up everything inside of you, and trust me, if you continue doing that, when it all comes out, it's not very pretty. Alright, so you need to show emotion and acceptance of what disappointed you and what you are actually going through, and that's the first one. If you are going through disappointment right now, I just want to encourage you that it is not the end. Whatever you're going through, this is not the end. The situation that you are in does not define who you are. There's so much that you can do, that you are capable of doing, and don't get yourself stuck in being disappointed. Try to move on from it. So as I say earlier, if you have to pray about it, pray. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to get a book and journal. Find someone, speak to someone that can help you, that can give you a little perspective. Get a book on motivation, read that book. Take care of your spirit, of you spiritually, mentally, and physically, so you can find ways of channeling what you're feeling. Because as I say, sometimes you're going through some things, and staying in one place, isolating, being worried won't help you. Find a gym, hit a gym. Find a group of friends from a church that shares similar beliefs as you do, and worship with them. Find a group of women that is strong and encouraging and on a path that you want to be yourself, and follow them. Remember, this disappointment does not define you. You are so much more than whatever it is that disappointed you. So lower your expectations. Don't expect too much from people, because sometimes the persons that are close to you are the ones that you get the most disappointment from. So I'm not saying don't be trustworthy and don't let yourself lose. I'm saying allow yourself to be loved, allow yourself to trust persons, but while doing so, guard your heart with all diligence, and you will be okay. Just think about this. I was once told by a very close friend that if my expectations are lower of people or of situations, that I wouldn't be so much disappointed, and I have to agree. So disappointment is tied to your expectation, like what you expect to get out of a particular situation, and then it's not working out in your favor, whether it be a relationship that you are in and you had certain plans and it didn't work out in your favor. Now you're disappointed because you had a certain amount of expectations, and it's the expectations that makes us disappointed and makes us feel rejected, and that is when we usually need redirection, like to find back ourselves and to handle this disappointment in the best possible way that we can. Another thing that I did was I used to be silent. As I told you, I am locked into my room. I am not talking to anyone. I cry. I didn't pray, and I didn't do nothing that would help me to like really get over the disappointment that I was feeling. And so I started journaling. So I journal what I was going through. I didn't isolate no more. I find someone that I can talk to that could relate to me, because trust me, if you have a lot of persons around you that you don't relate to, then when you are handling a certain disappointments, you won't have anyone to talk to. So there must be someone that you trust. Outside of journaling and praying, there must be someone that you trust enough that you can say, look, this is what I'm going through, this is how I feel about it. Talk to a good listener, let them listen to you and then give you their perspective, and this truly helps. I have tried and tested this method, and it truly helps. So that is another thing that I do, that I feel that you can do, that will help you when you are handling disappointments. Another thing that I do is I'm reading this book, right, and it says how to not worry, and from that book I have gotten a lot of perspective. So in handling disappointment, you need to get perspective. Like, what is the worst thing that could happen from this disappointment? And if the worst thing happens, what is the next best thing that you can do for yourself? So I hope you get that. I hope that's sinking. So the worst thing that could happen was I lose that location, and what I had to do was just find another one. So isolating myself and not talking about it wasn't helping. So you find that when you go there and you talk to people, someone might have an idea of what you can do or what you need to do to get a location. I'm talking from myself, what works for me, because it was through talking to different person that I find a different location. So for instance, you are dealing with a relationship problem, you're dealing with an issue at work. Find someone that has similar experiences, that have had to deal with disappointment that you are dealing with, and talk to them, man, because sometimes you just don't know how much help you can receive from someone who has gone through the same thing that you had gone through, and you just might need that help to push you forward to get over that disappointment, to heal healthy and move on. So I am going to give you a little challenge, right? Whatever disappointment you're going through right now, this moment, write it down. Write down what you can or what you feel like you can do about what you are disappointed about. Write down the best way of handling it and the worst way. Like I say, what's the worst thing can happen, and when the worst thing happens, what you can do about it. And this will somewhat gives you some redirection, right? Remember, please remember that this disappointment does not define you. You are so much more than what has disappointed you, the persons who have disappointed you, the situations that are disappointing you, so you can get through this. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Woman Up podcast. If you have not already done so, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the subscription button so that you will know when I upload content. I hope this was beneficial to someone. I hope this will help someone to deal with a disappointment a little bit better than how they were handling it. And until I speak to you again, until another episode, stay womaned up.